The central bank announced in the last hour that it is reducing its benchmark federal funds rate by 1/4 percentage point to a range between 1.75% and 2%. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the weakening global economy necessitated the cut.
Since the middle of last year, the global growth outlook has weakened, notably in Europe and China. Additionally, a number of geopolitical risks, including Brexit, remain unresolved. Trade policy tensions have waxed and waned, and elevated uncertainty is weighing on U.S. investment and exports.
Markets aren't thrilled with this move. Take a look. It happened at 2 o'clock, and that's what happened to the markets. Markets had spent the day in the red, but not by that much, and they went down by a lot more after the rate cut. You cannot please markets these days. The Dow's off about 150 points, or 0.5%. Let's take a look at the other indices as well. Everything is down along with the Dow. The Standard & Poor's 500 is down 18 points. The NASDAQ is down 73 points. Let's begin our coverage with NBC's Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Kelly, the president is not happy with this. He wanted rate cuts, but he wanted bigger rate cuts, more rate cuts. He's talking about an interest rate of 0, and he has understandably reacted to this.
He certainly has. He is a frequent and vocal critic of the Federal Reserve, and namely the chairman. And notably, he chose Jerome Powell, Jay Powell as he's known, to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So this is the president again critiquing and really lambasting his own choice for the head of the central bank. And he says today, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve fail again. No guts, no sense, no vision. A terrible communicator. This is the latest tweet from the president in reaction to this decision from the Fed. As you pointed out, the president does want to see lower rates, but he doesn't like the pace and the increment at which the board has decided to do this. And some division among the decision makers there has been part of his discomfort with this. Of course, politically, the president wants to protect an economy that he wants to take credit for, and a generally robust and strong economy is in his best interest for re-election. And of course, it has broad good implications for the country, but it has a definite important role to play for his own political standing. So the president is very intertwined with the fate of the economy. And certainly he has often talked about the stock market, which is a different kind of indicator. And the president tends to react when there are fluctuations. As you pointed out, there's some disinterest or some dislike for this initial step from the Fed, and in part because it's uncertain as to where they go next, although signaling a willingness to make other moves. Will they be to the president's liking? It seems at this point, Ali, I'd love your take on this, that anything Jay Powell does is probably not going to satisfy President Trump.
This is the interesting part. You've covered administrations long enough to know that presidents always, when they're in office, want interest rates to be lower. It's uniform. It's across the board. Every Fed chair has had some level of pressure from a president to do it. But this is new territory in the amount of pressure. First of all, because of Twitter, the president talks about it in speeches. Jay Powell's his guy. There was a Fed chair who was still in the middle of her term, and the president replaced her with him, and he's still mad about it.
But as the president often does, has a berating tone in the way that he speaks about Powell, and that one might even argue might influence some of the decisions that we've seen made because there have been these rate cuts, and some have questioned whether there is any influence from the White House to the central bank, which are supposed to be in separate camps. The president often does not respond to any of the norms for keeping those things in separate lanes. The president uses the bully pulpit to both bully and to have the megaphone of the pulpit for times like this, and he's using his power to, yes, definitely.
Kelly, good to see you as always. Kelly O'Donnell at the White House for us. President Trump.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.